Hello students, today we will continue with our chapter Resource and Development. In this video, we will discuss the topic Resource Planning. What is resource planning? Resource planning means utilization of country's resources for different development activities in accordance with national priorities. It consists of the following three components. First, resource inventory. It includes surveying, mapping and measurement of characteristics and properties of resources. It is important to know the amount, quality and distribution along with their present state of utilization. Secondly, evaluation. In this component, information of resource survey is examined against technology, economy, ecology and society to determine the possibility of development. Thirdly, development. The third component is concerned with the activities necessary to convert the potential of our resources into a reality and actual use. Children, before independence, Britishers were interested only in the exploitation of natural resources of India for the development of their country. After independence, the government of India embarked upon the program of planning in 1951. India developed its model of planning on the basis of the plans of Soviet Union. Resource planning is necessary for the balanced development of India. Some regions of India are rich in certain resources and poor in some other resources. Example, Rajasthan is poor in water resources but rich in solar and wind energy. Some regions are self-sufficient while other regions are very poor in important resources. Example, Madhya Pradesh is rich in many resources but Ladakh is very poor in resources. Wastage of resources can be avoided by planning. Environmental pollution can be reduced. Over exploitation of resources can be avoided. What are resource conservation? Plan use of resources in order to meet the present needs and to store a part for the future generations is called resource conservation. Children, conservation actually is the proper management of resources. Conservation involves sustainable and efficient utilization of resources. In this respect, we must always keep in consideration needs of future generations. It is necessary because many resources are non-renewable and exhaustible. If we conserve them, we can use them for a longer period of time. Conservation of resources helps us to reduce wastage. It will help in economic progress. Resource conservation helps us to conserve environment. Gandhiji was a staunch advocate of conservation of resources. His words about conservation are often quoted as there is enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's greed. In his opinion, the root causes for the depletion of resources was the greed and selfishness of individuals. He was in favor of small scale and cottage industries. He was against large factories producing food on a large scale. Children, when the demand for resources grew rapidly with the rapid growth of population, the resource of developed nation began to deplete. Then they started thinking about the conservation. The first serious and systematic attempt was made by the Club of Rome in 1968. The Club of Rome was an international group of industrialists, bankers, economists and scientists. In 1972, First World Environment Conference was held in Stockholm in Sweden. In 1966, E.F. Schumacher established Intermediate Technology Development Group. Schumacher technology is a small scale and low cost that locals can be used and maintain themselves. Schumacher has written a book, Small is Beautiful. We live on land. We perform our economic activities on land and we use it in different ways. Thus, land is a natural resource of utmost importance. It supports natural vegetation, wildlife, human life, economic activities, transport and communication systems. However, land is an asset of a finite magnitude. Therefore, it is important to use the available land for various purposes with careful planning. India has land under a variety of relief features: mountains, plateaus, plains. About 43% of the land area is plain. Mountains account for 30%. About 27% of the area of the country is the plateau region. As in all other countries, the land in India is put to following uses: forest, land not available for cultivation. This class consists of following two types of land, namely barren and wastelands. Secondly, land used for non-agricultural purpose, for example, houses, roads, railways, factories, rivers, lakes, etc. Other uncultivated lands. This category consists of permanent pastures and grazing lands, land under miscellaneous tree crops and groves. Next, cultivable wasteland available for cultivation but not used for cultivation for one reason or the other. Next, fallow lands. Now, firstly, what is fallow land? A piece of land that is normally used for farming but that is left with no crops on it for a season in order to let it recover its fertility is an example of land that would be described as fallow land. Next, fallow land is of two types. Current fallow. Current fallow is the land which has been left uncultivated for one or less than one agricultural year. Secondly, fallow land other than current fallow includes land that is left uncultivated from 1 to 5 years to help soil regain its fertility in a natural way. Net sown areas. Net sown area plus area sown for more than once in agricultural year is known as total crop area. The use of land is determined both by physical factors such as topography, climate, soil types, as well as human factors such as population density, technological capacity and culture and traditional etc. Children, now we will do comparative study between the two pie charts depicting the land use pattern in India. We see that forest area has increased from 18.11% of total reporting area in 1960-61 to 22.5% in 2002 and 3. However, 22.5% of forest land to the total reporting area is not sufficient for a tropical country like India, where the optimum area required under forest should be 33% of the total area. Unlike mineral, forested area is a renewable resources. They help in the maintenance of ecological balance. Next, sown area. Now children, Net sown area has a special significance in an agricultural country like India. Both types of fallow lands are of poor quality. There is a need to reduce the extent and frequency of fallow land in order to increase agricultural production. If the fallow land is brought under cultivation, it will increase the net sown area. Thus, the net sown area will be about 54% of the total reporting area. The state of plain regions like Punjab and Haryana have more percentage of net sown area to the total reporting area than the hilly state like Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram and Manipur. Thus, we find great varieties in net sown area from one state to another state. Next one is barren and wasteland. Rocky, arid and desert areas are put under this category. Barren and wasteland are concentrated in the states of Assam, Gujarat, Manipur, Mizoram, Rajasthan and Sikkim. See children, barren and wasteland areas have reduced from 12.01% to 6.29%. Next one is area under non-agricultural use. Buildings, roads, rail, lines, rivers, canal, industries are included in this category. Non-agricultural uses are dominant in the densely populated and urban areas. It has increased due to urbanization. The next one is permanent pastures and grazing lands. The area under this category is decreasing because pastures are being converted into agricultural fields. The next topic is land degradation. Soil erosion is only one aspect of land degradation. Land degradation occurs in the following chief ways. First, modifications of landforms. Man created landscapes that have negative impact on environment resulting in land degradation. Next one is deforestation. Cutting down of trees in forest on a large scale leads to soil erosion as a result of destruction of vegetation. Next one is overgrazing. Like deforestation, removal of grass by domestic animals on a large scale degrades the land by removing the vegetation. In the states of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, overgrazing is the major cause of land degradation. Next one is degradation by rivers. Man's interference with the course of rivers, their sedimentation, runoff and river pollution causes degradations of land on a large scale. Many major rivers of the world today have created man-included slopes. These slopes have no relationship with geological structures, resulting in considerable increase in sediments and soil erosion. Next one is improper farming techniques. Children, the Dust Bowl tragedy in the American prairies in 1920s was a result of improper farming techniques. When vast tracts of land were laid bare of their vegetal cover, it made easier for the winds to blow dust in atmosphere which settled on vegetation as well as crops, reducing the whole area to a vast desert. Similar disasters happen in many parts of the world on a minor scale. Next one is degradation by mining and quarrying. More than 5,500 mines and quarries are operating in India. The dumping of mineral waste and abandoned mines are degrading and defacing the land. Mineral-rich states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Orissa are facing the acute problem of land degradation due to mining activities. Next one is degradation by municipal and hospital waste. Degradations of land by such waste is increasing day by day. Degradation by industrial effluents. Indiscriminate discharge of effluents causes land degradation and makes the land unfit for cultivation. Next one is degradation by water logging. In the states of Punjab, Haryana and Western UP, salinity and alkalinity is increasing due to waterlogging caused by excessive irrigation. Next and last one is degradation by industrial dust. Fly ash from thermal power plants and dust generated by cement and ceramic industries are also main causes of land degradation. Let's move to the next topic, that is conservation and reclamations of degraded land. The following may help in the conservation and reclamations of land. First, afforestation and proper management of grazing lands. Second, plantation of shelter belts of plants. Third, growing of thorn bushes to stabilize the sand dunes. Fourth, proper discharge and disposal of industrial effluents and waste. Last, environmental friendly mining. That's all for today. We will continue in the next video.